Good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stimulus with True North Group, and we're here for our Tuesday Facebook Live or Cybersecurity Facebook Live with the Virginia Small Business Development Center. Today's topic is going to be on phishing. And, phishing has been in the news a lot recently. If you remember the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack that was brought on or initiated through a phishing email. And I think it's really important that we constantly talk about phishing, because phishing is really seems to be the preferred medium for hackers to attack our networks. But I think it's important to understand what phishing really is. Phishing is really it's social engineering. And if you think about social engineering, let's kind of break it down a little bit. When I was a kid growing up, I used to spend my summers in Maine, and at my grandparents' house, which was on the beach in Scarborough, in the Old Orchard Beach area. And even though we had the ocean, which was only a few steps from my house, as we got older, my friends and I would go pool hopping. And we would, make a game of trying to figure out how many pools, because you had to be, staying there or a hotel guest to use these pools. Well, we would go and we would social engineer. Either we would sneak into the pool, and if we were asked, we would come up with a story, what room we were in, or we'd come up with a story to actually get into the pool. And that was our game, and the goal was to hit every single pool through the entire summer. So, if you think about social engineering, it's been around and we all do it. If you've ever been in a place that you're not supposed to be in and you're asked and you get out of that situation, you've basically social engineered yourself to make that person believe you should be there. Now, over time, that's what's worked with, it used to be telephonic, where people would call the help desk and say, this is so-and-so, and I can't remember my password. Can you just give me my password? And, initially, being humans, we're very trusting. We would say, okay, what's your email address? What's your office phone number? A lot of things that people could get fairly easy. They'd share it, and then they'd get the password, and then they might break into the network. And over time, because social engineering was becoming very popular from a telephonic perspective, we put in controls and we put in training to make sure that these help desk individuals don't just freely give out the information. They'd have to go through some verification, or they would ask security questions. And we've seen that with our credit cards, because even with our credit cards, people would call and they try to use our credit card information that might have been stolen, and they try to change your password, and that's where these security questions would come from. Unfortunately, a lot of these security questions are pretty basic, and if you do a little bit of digging, you can actually probably figure out people's security questions, but it was still another layer. So now we're in phishing with email, and it's impersonal, which makes it a little bit more challenging for us, because one, hackers know that we get hundreds of emails a day. And they also know we don't read them all. And they also know the triggers that will set us or perk us up. Maybe it's something from our bank, or something from our credit card. Or I actually just got one a little while ago about an order with Amazon. Now, I didn't order this from Amazon, but I know that I order a lot from Amazon. So when I saw that, I looked at it, and there were so many signs there. It was like a Forex trading machine, or a foreign exchange trading machine. They said, don't worry about it, $798. We're just going to bill it to your credit card account. And if you have any issues, call our customer service number. But see, when they put the customer service number in place, it was, the first three, then had 2 semicolons, then it had the 3-digit, and then 2 more semicolons. And when you look at that, we know nobody uses semicolons, and no one would use, colons, and no one would use 2 colons to separate the phone numbers. You either use the parentheses, or people use, a period, depending on where you are in the world. So that automatically, you realize, okay, that's just a a spam or a phishing. They're trying to make me click on a link, or they're trying to make me open a document. So when we're talking about phishing, we have to just be aware of the key things. One is, if you don't do business with that organization, then it's probably a phishing email, delete it. Or if you have a policy in place where you can mark it as spam, and Office 365 for our small business owners, you can actually, there's a button on there for you to mark as spam, which means that it'll remove it from your inbox and it will send a notification to Microsoft. You can also mark it as phishing. So those are the things. That's kind of like just doing our due diligence. But if you're in a larger organization, they may want you to forward it to the IT department, or maybe forward it to a general email box that the security team looks at, because if they can identify it as phishing, then they have the ability to remove all of those emails from everyone, whether they've opened it or not. So you're doing your company a favor by not just ignoring it, but by looking at it. If you happen to open it and you see that it's thing, you're not sure, you can mark it, forward it, whatever. And then if it's determined by your IT department that it is a phishing email, then they'll go through the process of removing it so that some other coworker or individual doesn't click on it by accident. So that's one of the big things that you can do individually to help with the phishing. Also, we've talked about this in some of our classes about security awareness, is hover over the URL or the area that they want you to click on. If it's from American Express, or the phishing email is supposedly from American Express, but the URL, when you hover over it, goes to some other unrelated email or unrelated company, well, then it's probably a phishing email and you don't click on it. The other thing is, a lot of times when they're doing these phishing emails, they're trying to get you to click on an attachment. And most of the time it's a PDF, because a PDF can be injected with malware that once opened can infect your network. The thing with, and I don't know about you, but I don't name my PDF documents, X-185796. I would have no idea what that document meant. I'd have to open the document in order to realize what the contents were. Most humans will mark that document with some type of title that is reflective of what the content is. So if you get one of these phishing emails or suspected phishing emails, and you said, they're like, please, open the document, sign it, send it back to us, and it doesn't have any way for you to understand what's in that document, don't click on it. All right. If you think it's even partially legitimate, email the individual back and say, I'm not opening that document because I don't know what it is. Please, resend it with a proper title, or let me know what the contents are. Most likely, if you did that, they're not going to send it back to you anyways, because you've called them out. But even in just general practices, you want to make sure that you're not opening a document that you have no idea what the contents could be, because someone could have injected that with malware that once you open it, could infect your system and the rest of your systems. And that has been the main delivery method for ransomware. Now, ransomware is taking off at all levels for all organizations. It doesn't matter whether you're a 3-person office or a 3,000-person company. Ransomware is the easiest so far right now, let's say right now at this point, the easiest way for organizations to extort money out of legitimate organizations. They steal your data. Well, they don't really steal it. They can steal your data, but what they do is they encrypt your data and make sure that you cannot access your data without paying some type of ransom. And that ransom could be anywhere from $1,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's all done through Bitcoin, so it's untraceable. All right. It's not like you're meeting someone in a parking lot, handing them an envelope, with $10,000 in it. It's all untraceable, and it needs to be paid, or they won't give you that back. And every day you can't access your data, you can't take care of your clients, and you can't run your business. But like I said, the ransomware is primarily delivered through phishing. Yeah, there's a couple ways where, I mean, we should all know that if you find a USB drive in the parking lot, don't plug it into your work computer. It doesn't matter what it says it's on there. It's not. All right. There's someone trying to trick you. It's either someone like me who's been hired by your company to do an assessment, or it's going to be someone legitimately trying to break into that company, and they're going to throw a bunch of USB drives, banking that someone is going to plug it into their computer. But because we've done enough education on this, most people are aware not to do that. But the phishing emails, those are getting better every single day. But the key things to keep for is, the URL, when you hover over that, the attachment, if it doesn't make any sense or nonsensical, if you don't do business with that organization, and a lot of times there's still spelling issues, spelling and grammar issues. When, in the United States, we speak a certain way. And when we write our emails, we email in a certain grammatical way as well. When you see something from a foreign country, legitimately or not, they speak English differently and they write English differently. So if you're not doing business and you get some of these phishing emails, you're going to see grammatical differences, and you're probably going to see some spelling errors or European spelling of words that, well, we spell differently in the United States. If you do, follow whatever processes you have in place. If you don't have a process, I'd be happy to sit down with any of you to have a meeting. We can talk about, at least some of the steps that we can share with your employees as part of security awareness. And also we can put together, a policy. You can kind of get you started on, educating and keeping your employees informed on what they can and what they can't do and what they should and what they shouldn't click on. So that's it for today, everybody. I hope you got something out of it, but think about it. The next email that you look at, if you can share it with your IT department or mark it as a phishing email, you're doing your company and yourself and your employees a favor, because you're just kind of, you're tightening it down, making it a little bit more difficult for an organization to take advantage of your company. So we'll see you next Tuesday. Again, thank you very much and have a great rest of your Tuesday.